part by Inked Playmats at inkedplaymats.com, your place for custom-made playmats. Design your own or shop from other featured designers. Use promo code KLOTZ to save 10% on your order. Inked Playmats, your game, your style. To do on their website, and come join us for a fun, friendly F&M environment. Hello everybody, this is Kevin from KlotzProductions. Welcome back to Game 3 of the match between Blue-Black Control and Blue-White Delver. Scott started this game off with a Darkslick Shores, and then Nick laid down a Seachrome Coast and cast a Delver of Secrets. Then Scott played a Swamp and put a Ratchet Bomb into play. Nick laid down an Island and then attacked with his Delver, taking Scott to 19. He then played a Ponder and rearranged the cards on the top of his library. Scott added a counter to his Ratchet Bomb at the end of the turn, and then laid down a Drowned Catacomb on his turn and passed it back. During Nick's upkeep, he revealed a Ponder on the top of his library from the Delver, and it transformed into an Insectile Aberration. Nick laid down a Glacial Fortress and then attacked with his Aberration, taking Scott to 16. He then played a Ponder and took a look at the top cards of his library and chose to shuffle them away. He then paid 2 life, going to 18, to play a Gitaxian Probe and look at Scott's hand and draw another card. Then at the end of the turn, Scott used to think twice to draw a card himself. Scott played Land Go on his turn, and then Nick attacked with his Aberration again, taking Scott to 13. Then at the end of the turn, Scott flashed in a Snapcaster Mage and gave his Think Twice flashback to draw another card. He then attacked with his Snapcaster, taking Nick to 16. Then post-combat, he cast a Ratchet Bomb. Nick tried to counter it with a Mana Leak, however Scott stopped it with a Mana Leak of his own. Then at the end of the turn, Nick went down to 14 to cast a Surgical Extraction and remove all the Mana Leaks from Scott's library. Nick played a Plains on his turn and then attacked with his Aberration again, however Scott killed it by sacrificing his Ratchet Bomb. Scott then attacked with his Snapcaster again, taking Nick to 12. Nick played Land Go for his next turn, and then at the end of the turn, Scott played another Think Twice. He then put in Nephalia Drownyard into play and attacked with his Snapcaster again, taking Nick to 10. Nick cast a Geist of St. Traft on his next turn, and Scott played a Dissipate on it, so Nick played a Snapcaster Mage of his own and gave his Mana Leak flashback to counter the Dissipate and let the Geist resolve. At the end of the turn, Scott added another counter to his Ratchet Bomb, then on his turn he played a Bloodline Keeper. Nick then played a Sword of War and Peace on his turn. He then used the Divine Offering to destroy Scott's Ratchet Bomb and gain 2 life, going back to 12. Nick then equipped his sword to his Geist and attacked with the team. Scott chose to double block the Geist, killing all 3 creatures, and then used a Tragic Slip to kill Nick's Snapcaster. He then took 4 damage from the Angel, going down to 9 life. Scott played a Curse of Death's Hold on his next turn, however Nick got rid of it with a Revoke Existence. Scott played Draw Go on his next turn, and then Nick used a Ponder to rearrange the cards on the top of his library. He then played a Snapcaster Mage and gave his Surgical Extraction flashback, which he went down to 10 life to cast. However, Scott played a Snapcaster of his own and used a Dissipate from his graveyard to counter the Surgical Extraction. Nick went to equip his sword to his Snapcaster, however Scott used another Tragic Slip to kill it in response. Scott then attacked with his Snapcaster again, taking Nick to 8. Then Nick played a Delver of Secrets and equipped his sword to it, however Scott used a Tribute to Hunger to make him sacrifice the Delver and gain 3 life, going to 12. He then flashed back a Think Twice from his graveyard at the end of the turn to draw another card. He laid down a second Nephalia Drownyard and then took Nick to 6 with his Snapcaster. Nick just played Draw Go for his next turn, so at the end of the turn, Scott milled himself and then played another Think Twice from his graveyard. He attacked with his Snapcaster, taking Nick to 4. Nick then played a Porcelain Legionnaire on his turn and equipped his sword to it. Then at the end of the turn, Scott milled himself again. Scott then attacked with his Snapcaster again and tricked Nick into not blocking, taking him down to 2 life. Then post-combat, he used a Black Sun Zenith to kill both the creatures. Nick played another Delver of Secrets on his turn and equipped his sword to it. Then at the end of the turn, Scott milled himself again. He then played Land Go on his turn, and then when Nick attacked with his Delver, Scott flashed in another Snapcaster Mage and gave his Tribute to Hunger flashback. Nick chose to use a Vapor Snag on his own Delver to save it, however it took him down to 1 life. He then replayed and re-equipped the Delver, and then at the end of the turn, Scott played another Think Twice from his graveyard. He then played a Forbidden Alchemy from his graveyard on his turn and found another Tribute to Hunger, which he used to make Nick sacrifice the Delver. This cleared the way for him to attack for lethal with his Snapcaster, giving him the win to the game and the match. So that's it for this match. I hope you all enjoyed it. You can find the full version of this gameplay in the annotations at the end, along with links to my vlog and my Let's Play Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012. If you like this or any other video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and add it to your favorites, then subscribe to be notified when more videos are online.